Twitter shared a trove of internal documents with Matt Taibbi of Substack.
And you know who's a criminal? You're a criminal for not reporting it.
They say crazy stuff. We're all like, well, you know, Uncle Joe.
Ooh, the Twitter files going to be big news for a long time coming. On Friday, Twitter released a bunch of stuff condemning what their own actions during the Hunter Biden bonanza in the 2020 election. Obama had a Freudian slip that was pretty dang funny, and also ICE is misreporting border numbers at a staggering level. All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. My name is Jobob. Thanks so much for tuning in. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually their name, Jobob.
Live from the conference room at Great Plains Media in Bloomington, Illinois. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in this morning. On today, it is December 5th, the year of our Lord 2022. As you can tell, I am in Bloomington, Illinois. Going to give a speech later tonight at Illinois State University in Bloomington Normal. But doing the show remote, which is kind of interesting. I do apologize. We were planning on getting to this Friday, and just as things worked out, it didn't end up happening. I was at Mar-a-Lago over the weekend with good old Mr. Donald Trump and Turning Point USA. Had a great weekend there, and just traveling on the road, doing a lot of stuff. We got some exciting announcements coming up with what I'm doing over the next couple of days that we'll get to. But aside from all of that, I know that's super exciting, kind of. But this is unbelievable in terms of exciting and important and all of those things. Twitter on Friday night released a treasure trove of internal documents now that Elon Musk owns that social media platform. So just to set this up, right? Twitter definitely censored the Hunter Biden laptop story when it first aired. We all knew that, right? Everybody understood that that's what happened. But what went on internally, nobody really had any good idea. But now, via Elon Musk and also Matt Taibbi, a independent reporter, I believe with Substack, big time, I don't want to say big time lefty, but not a conservative dude, was able to get a hold of all of the internal files, went through them, and released a big old Twitter thread, which, maybe, hopefully, I think Elon Musk is trying to, in some way, restore trust to the platform. But this was nuts. We're going to go through we're going to spend a decent amount of time on this just to make sure everybody fully understands what happened there and what it's going to look like going forward. Let me play this clip from Tucker Carlson. He kind of explains what's going on. And then we're just going to straight up read all of the Twitter thread from releasing that new information. It doesn't look good. Okay, so check this out. Watch this from Tucker Carlson, and then we will discuss on the other side. Also, if you haven't already, would really, really appreciate it if you click the little like button down here and the little share button. Really, really helps us out. Get to as many people as possible. Really helps us out. Would appreciate you doing so. Check this out. Tucker kind of sets it up, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty, the details after this. Watch this.
To call Biden a criminal. Why?
I'm sorry. This is President Trump. Tucker will set this up after. This is just but an interesting clip from Donald Trump being asked at the time. All right, so check that out. Watch this.
To call Biden a criminal. Why is that?
He is a criminal. He's a criminal. He got caught. Read his laptop. And you know who's a criminal? You're a criminal for not reporting it. You are a criminal for not reporting it. Let me tell you something. Joe Biden is a criminal, and he's been a criminal for a long time. And you're a criminal in the media for not reporting it. Good luck, everybody. Have a good time.
So that's at the time when the media wasn't reporting the Hunter Biden story and Twitter locked people out. I think it's like 80% of Americans think that the election could have been swayed had that story been properly reported by news outlets doing their job. Donald Trump, they're saying you're a criminal for not reporting it, and it's hard to disagree with him on that stance. At the very end, though, I think I just find it hilarious. He says, you're a criminal, you should have reported it. All right, everybody have a great day. Good luck. And he gets onto his plane and goes away. Now here's the Tucker clip kind of just explaining this, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty details here. Let us know in the comment section what you think of this. This this is, again, not surprising to anybody that they knew what was going on, but the internal stuff is going to freak people out. Check this out.
Less than an hour ago, Musk began to make good on that promise. Twitter shared a trove of internal documents with Matt Taibbi of Substack. Those documents are coming out again as we speak, and what they prove so far is very serious. Those documents show a systemic violation of the First Amendment, the largest example of that in modern history. These documents show that, among other things, political officials in the Democratic National Committee were directing censorship at Twitter ahead of the 2020 election.
So that's setting it up. That's what the big release on Friday night. I was in Florida, so it was like 11 p.m. our time, I think, when this stuff started coming out. But I'm just going to sit here and read this stuff and try to make sense of it. I know you're not reading it. If you're listening on the podcast, hopefully this is helpful. But this is what Matt Taibbi tweeted with the help of Elon Musk late Friday night to, again, confirm something that we all knew. Let me know in the comment section. Is this surprising? No, but the level of involvement at the highest levels in Twitter is freaking fascinating. This is Matt Taibbi entitled The Twitter Files. What you read, what you're about to read, is the first installment in a series based on thousands of internal documents obtained by sources at Twitter. The Twitter Files tells an incredible story from one of the inside of one of the largest, most influential social media platforms. It's a Frankensteinian tale of a human-built mechanism grown out of control of its designer. Twitter is a comprehensive build. He talks about the greatness of Twitter, yada, yada, yada. As it progressed, however, the company was slowly forced to add barriers. Some of the first tools for controlling speech were designed to combat the likes of spam and financial fraudsters. Okay, fine, right? Running a platform is difficult because you do have to keep things like spam, fraudsters, also like child porn, off the site. You don't want that stuff on your platform. So there needs to be some mechanics that are in place to do that. Slowly over time, however, Matt Taibbi continues, staff and executives began to find more and more uses for these tools. Outsiders began petitioning the company to manipulate speech as well, first a little, then more often and more consistently. By 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. This is, again, internal Twitter filings. One executive would write to another, more to review from the Biden team that you would probably handled. And you don't have a picture of this, but it's basically a bunch of tweets, links to the tweet, an email sent from one executive saying, more to review from the Biden team, thanks all. And then somebody responded back, again, internal documents from Twitter that said, handled these. What do you think that means? Celebrities and unknowns alike could be removed at the review behest of their political party. Additional reports from the DNC. So this is going back to what the actual email said. This is literally an email from a Twitter executive saying, these are additionals reported from the DNC, listing real James Woods and some other people going there. I grabbed these under the first, they deter safety, yada, 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 yada. Bottom line is, it is definitive now that the DNC and the Biden administration was sending Twitter executives various tweets that they would like to be censored. Now, he does make this kind of interesting here. He says both parties had access to these tools because, of course, you probably want people at a higher level to be able to communicate with Twitter on some sort of level, saying, hey, this is happening. We'd like to make sure that this is all cleared up. So he says that both parties had access to these tools. For instance, in 2020, requests came from both the Trump White House and the Biden campaign, and they were received and honored. However, this system wasn't valid. This is, again, Matt Taibbi reporting on the Twitter Files, the big release that happened on Friday. It was based on contacts because Twitter was and is overwhelmingly staffed by people of one political orientation. There were more channels and more ways to complain open to the left, Democrats, than the right. And then he shows a screenshot of all of the political donations made by party. So check this out. This is actually kind of really freaking interesting. In the 2020 cycle, there was $968,000 donated in total from Twitter employees. Of that $968,000, $909,000 or 98.4% was donated to Democrats by Twitter employees. 14,000 was donated to Republicans, a whopping 1.5% of overall donations made up. So bottom line here is the overwhelming majority of Twitter staff were Democrats. And then that continued to go, oh, wow. In the 2020 election, it was 99.7% donated to Dems of all the people that donated politically. Matt Taibbi continues, the resulting slant in content moderation decisions is visible in these documents you're about to read. However, there's also assumptions that multiple current and former high-level executives were okay with all of it and being involved in here. He goes on to talk a little bit more about this, but now we get to the Hunter Biden stuff. On October 14th, 2020, the New York Post published the Biden secret emails, an expose based on the contents of the Hunter Biden abandoned laptop. Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress this story by removing links and posting warnings that it may be unsafe. They even blocked its transition via direct message, a tool usually reserved for extreme cases like child porn. So they have these mechanics in Turning Point. They have these, in Turning Point, in Twitter that allow them to stop, because we're being honest here. Obviously, we don't want child porn circulating through Twitter. And so they have the mechanics to stop that, especially via direct messaging. But apparently, during the 2020 election, as stated in this thing, that Twitter decided to use the same mechanics that they have to stop child porn to stop the Hunter Biden laptop story, which was clearly happening in its entirety. I'm seeing some comments here, and they're kind of interesting. Some people are saying boycott Twitter. Elon Musk buying this platform is the whole reason why we have this sort of thing. He's trying to make it clear that Twitter is not this anymore. I understand the sentiment, but let's keep things in perspective. White House spokesman Kayleigh McEnany was locked out of her account for tweeting about the story, prompting a furious letter from the Trump campaign staffer, at least pretend to care for the next 20 days. Bottom line, not to get into like the crazy nitty gritty, but Kayleigh McEnany's account was locked out. Bottom line is Twitter tried to wipe this story off the map, and it was in a lot of ways was successful with it. Let me get down to some of the really interesting stuff, getting to you can see the confusion. Okay, so here we go. The decision was made to block this story at the highest levels of the company, but without the knowledge of the CEO, Jack Dorsey, with former head of legal policy and trust, Vijay Gade. Vijay is when Jack Dorsey did Joe Rogan's podcast, she was the attorney that was sitting there with him. She was the head of legal policy and trust at Twitter. But basically, it seemed from these emails that they kept the CEO, Jack Dorsey, out of the loop. You can see the confusion in a lengthy email exchange, which ends up including Gad and former trust and safety officer Yoel Roth. Communications official Trenton Kennedy writes, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this unsafe. So from the top down, they said the Hunter Biden laptop story is quote unquote unsafe. They used the justification in that, well, it's unsafe because we don't know if this is obtained from hacked material. That turned out to be completely not at all what they were trying to do, it would appear here. But this is interesting. I'm reading an email here from one of their communications people, Trenton Kennedy, that says, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this unsafe. And I think the best explainability argument would be for this externally would be that we're waiting to understand if the story was released from hacked materials. We'll face hard questions on this if we don't have some sort of solid reasoning for marking this link unsafe. So the bottom line here is they came up with a reason to mark it unsafe. And that reason was, well, we don't know it was from hacked materials, which is it's a tough sell. By this point, Taibbi writes, everybody knew this was effed, said one of the Informer employees. But the response was essentially to err on the side of continuing to err, says Matt Taibbi. His writing is very sarcastic-ish, but also very, very, I don't know, intelligent. I can go through reading more of these emails. The bottom line here is, if you want to read this entire Twitter thread, what it is Twitter employees going back and forth on how, one, they were going to censor it, and then two, how they were going to justify it being censored, which is a big problem that Elon is trying to counteract. Let me see. I'm trying to read if there's any comments in here that are interesting. But the bottom line and the basis of the story, sorry. This is freaking interesting. Okay, so one exchange that was really, really interesting on day one was from a Democrat congressman, Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna is a Silicon Valley congressman who is a Democrat, but apparently is for free speech, and was kind of really on the right side of this very initially. I want to read you this email from, again, a Democrat congressman to Twitter, to Vijay Gad, who was the chief trust officer, and it's freaking fascinating. Also, if you haven't already, before I read this, if you wouldn't mind clicking the little like button down here, or the little emoji, whatever emoji makes you feel adequate, to represent what you're feeling right now, and the little share button, would really, really appreciate you doing that. It really, really does help us out, especially now that we're like, this month, like I've said, is just so freaking difficult. We're going all over the place. We're broadcasting from an office that they graciously let me use in Bloomington, Illinois. Wow, we'll announce more stuff later. It was actually kind of a really interesting week for us here. Bottom line, if you wouldn't mind clicking the little like button and the little share button, or letting us know in the comment section what you think. I'm trying to get some of these comments too, but they're coming in way hotter. Wow, yeah, lots of people. Okay, so Ro Khanna, Democrat congressman, reached out to Gad to gently suggest she hop on the phone to talk about the backlash re-speech. Khanna was the only Democrat official I could find who expressed concern, generating huge backlash on the Hill re-speech. Happy to chat if you're up for it, he sent to Vijay Gad, the Twitter policy person. Gad replied quickly, immediately diving into the weeds of Twitter policy, unaware Khanna is more worried about the Bill of Rights. Again, snarky writing from Matt Taibbi, but also very appropriate. Gad responded saying, "Thank you for reaching out. We appreciate the heads up. We put out a clarifying thread of tweets earlier this evening to explain our policy around the positive of posting of private information and linking directly to hack materials, yada, yada, yada." She goes on, says, "I'd be happy to jump on the phone if it's helpful. My team in DC are also copied, yada, 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 yada." So basically she said, well, this is Twitter policy and we're trying to just do it, yada, 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 yada. But what Ro Khanna responded was, actually gives me some sort of hope. Khanna tries to reroute the conversation, this is Matt Taibbi writing, to the First Amendment mentions, which is generally hard to find in the files. This is what Ro Khanna responded to. Ro Khanna, hope you're well, Vijay, but it seems a violation of First Amendment principles. If there is a hack of classified information or other information that could expose serious war crimes and the New York Times were to publish it, I think the New York Times should have the right to do so. Yeah, okay, Ro Khanna, Democrat congressman, basically saying, look, there's information that gets leaked all the time, and he believes that journalists have the right to report on it. A journalist should not be held accountable. This is, again, Ro Khanna emailing back to Vijay at the time. A journalist should not be held accountable for the illegal action of a source unless they aided actively in the hack. So to restrict the distribution of that material, especially regarding a presidential candidate, seems not in the keeping of the principles of the NYT versus Sullivan. He's citing a Supreme Court here, talking about the right of free speech. Like, okay, Ro Khanna, I say this as a total Biden partisan and convinced he didn't do anything wrong. dude, this is what America needs. Like, this is awesome that he's saying. Again, I disagree with him politically, but he's saying this. Look, I'm a staunch Joe Biden partisan, and I'm going to vote for him and support him. But this is a problem from a First Amendment culture standpoint. But the story now has become more about censorship and the relativity, more about censorship than relativity and not relative. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I'm very tired. It's been a long weekend. But the story has now become more about censorship than relatively innocuous emails, and it's a bigger deal than it would have been. He goes on to say, yada, 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 he's taking heat, and bottom line is he's concerned about the overall culture of free speech. He thinks that the story is now a bigger deal because Twitter tried to censor it, and I think he's right. Again, that is a Democrat from Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area. I think he's actually like San Jose, but all kind of the same Bay Area, talking about the First Amendment with Twitter. I thought that was freaking fascinating. Matt Taibbi goes on, and I don't want to keep. Yeah, we've been at this for 20 minutes, and I think this is super important, but I also don't want to bore everybody and leave you in the dust here. But the last big thing is the Twitter Files continues. Some guy who works there, Sabdo. There's no D. I don't know why I'm bad at pronouncing names, reading them on the spot. I should have prepared this, but I'm bad at my job, so I didn't. The Twitter Files continue saying the First Amendment isn't absolute. And I would like to read in the context here, we pushed on how the government might insist that the First Amendment might be deterred. The First Amendment isn't absolute, says somebody in an email, so there's that. Bottom line here is everything we thought is now confirmed to be true. And I will move on from this topic because I'm seeing people, especially in the comment section and on the viewer count, get a little bit more... Thanks, Rays. Rays said, reading is hard. Yeah, sometimes for me, reading is hard. Appreciate the vote of confidence. But anyways. Okay, all right, hold on. Let's get to this. Dean says, what about the Obama slip? What happened? I thought this was funny. We're just going to completely move on. I don't want to leave that like just completely left there. Twitter did all of the things that we thought Twitter did. Huge problem. Hopefully Elon Musk is going to be fixing that. That's the bottom line. Who was it? Jordan Peterson made a really interesting point on a talk show recently, basically saying that it's fascinating how Elon Musk fired, 80% of the staff at Twitter, and it still works, and it still works fine at higher traffic volumes than it ever has had. So there's that. Okay, so moving on entirely to this, Obama's Freudian slip, ? I would really love to know in the comment section what you think about this. Obama was on the stump for Raphael Warnock in Georgia. Is that today? Oh, no, that's tomorrow. They are having an election to see. I'm not super confident that Herschel Walker is going to come out on top of that, but Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker are running in the Georgia state Senate race. And I don't know. That is what it is. But Obama was on the stump for Warnock over the weekend and possibly had a Freudian slip. I thought this was hilarious, given all of the jokes being made at Joe Biden's expense. I thought this was quite funny. But let us know in the comment section. Is this a Freudian slip, or is this, I don't know, is it on accident, or did he actually think this in his own head and decide to slip? If you haven't already, would really appreciate it before I play this clip. Really appreciate you clicking the little like button and the little share button. Really, really does help us out. Really, really, really does. Appreciate it, especially when we're on the road and traveling and doing this stuff. Especially if you're watching on Facebook. Facebook is instrumental in this. So yeah, just click the little like button and especially the little share button. Let us know in the comment section what you think about this clip from Obama. I'll stop talking. Check this out.
all know some folks in our lives who we don't wish them ill will. They say crazy stuff. We're all like, well, you know, Uncle Joe, you know what happened to him. You know, it's okay. They're part of the family, but you don't give them serious responsibilities.
this? Is he setting up the exit from the White House of Joe Biden? Is that what's happening? I don't actually know, by the way. But is this on purpose? Is it intentional? Was it just kind of like a Freudian slip? Obama, give it a little bit more context, which you understand. He's like, yeah, sometimes we vote with people politically, and geez, isn't that the truth? There are people that I vote with politically, but also think are a little bit too out there for me. That's just my own personal opinion. Leave that there. But Obama's saying that on the Democrat side. Yeah, we all know the Uncle Joe that, whatever happened to him. And let me play that one part about that again, because I thought that's freaking bad.
They say crazy stuff. We're all like, well, Uncle Joe, you know what happened to him. It's okay. They're part of the family. But you don't give them serious responsibilities.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. So was that a Freudian slip, or did he say that on purpose? Because remember, too, there's a lot of people in the DNC and on the Hill that are very, very actively trying to figure out an exit strategy for Joe Biden to not run again. Because guess what? Nobody wants him to run again. I don't know. That's going to be a big part of the Democrats' next couple of years. And it'll be really interesting to see. Cheryl says, Uncle Joe. That's definitely talking about Joe Biden, I think. Dean says he's throwing his boy under the bus. LOL, Uncle Joe, LOL. Yeah, that could be true. Remember Barack Obama was also quoted saying, let me remember this correctly. Don't underestimate Joe's ability to F things up. Literal quote from Barack Obama, reported in Politico. There's no audio of it or visual of it, but a lot of people in his campaign staff said, yeah, he said that. Nelson says, wow. Yeah, it is. It's kind of I don't know. It's interesting. Gloria says, wow, he's telling the truth. LOL. Yeah. Intentional or not. That's what I'm concerned about. Is it part of this DNC plan to usher Joe Biden into retirement? Or was it just kind of like a Freudian slip, Uncle Joe, type of thing? Okay, we'll get to this really quick so we don't have to do it tomorrow because there's so much stuff happening. The border is nuts. Nobody needs to tell you, but this is a Daily Caller exclusive last Friday. Immigration and Customs Law Enforcement, I know this is a hard transition, is underreporting numbers of illegal aliens released into the country without any tracking technology by more than 18,000%. According to internal documents exclusively obtained by the Daily Caller News Foundation. Okay, is this shocking to anybody? The ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement are underreporting the number of illegal aliens released into the country without any tracking by 18,000%. Good on you, Daily Caller News Foundation, for getting those documents. ICE disseminated the documents to participants, including the ICE director and other top agency officials, as well as leaders from a nonprofit organization on Thursday at an event about ICE's Alternatives to Detention program, which was put in place in 2004 to monitor illegal aliens released into the United States interior with ankle bracelets and cell phones to keep track of them. Because remember, the United States just releases people into the country and gives them a court date and says, please return to this court date in 18 months or 2 years, and expects them to actually do it, which they don't, by the way. Bottom line here is they are underreporting the amount of people that get sent out into the country without any sort of ability to track them down afterward. They're underestimating the amount of those people by 18,000%. Wow. There's a lot of people in the comment section saying, I'm shocked. I would imagine sarcastically. Craziness. Interesting. Eddie says, none of this reported on TV news. Yeah. I don't know. Cool. Glad that we can bring that to you here. So there's that. That'll do it for us today. A couple really actually interesting and fun announcements that I haven't made on this show yet, even though we did talk about it yesterday. OAN, One America's News Network, Dan Ball, Real America, the primetime slot. I am going to be guest hosting for Dan as he goes under the knife and has a procedure done Tomorrow, what's day? Monday. Today's Monday. Oh my gosh. This week, I'll tell you about this weekend. But I'm going to be hosting OAN's Primetime Real America show Tuesday through Friday. So if you get OAN, if you want to get OAN, you should contact your cable provider because they've been canceled hard, which is not cool. But I will be hosting the Primetime OAN show, filling in for Dan Ball, Real America, Tuesday night through Friday night. That airs 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Again, it's the prime time slot. I'm super, super grateful to the Herrings and all of the people over at OAN who are willing to let me step in and fill in for their biggest flagship show. Really appreciate them trusting me to do that, and really excited for the opportunity. We're going to have a great time over on OAN tomorrow, Tuesday through Friday, hosting again for Dan Ball on Real America. If you get OAN, check it out. If you want to see some clips, go check out Rumble. And you can watch, clips from the show there. So really excited for that. Let's see, this weekend, maybe I'll talk more about this weekend tomorrow, but I was at Mar-a-Lago with Big Daddy T. Gave a little bit of remarks for Turning Point USA's 10th anniversary. That was an awesome event and had a really, really great time there. If you've never, if you've never been to Mar-a-Lago, you should go, but that's very difficult to do. I really, really appreciate Turning Point allowing me to be a part of that. That was crazy awesome. This week has been nuts, right? I was in New Mexico with Charlie Kirk at a rally on Wednesday, then Friday had to fly to Mar-a-Lago, do the whole weekend there, came to Chicago, outskirts of the greater Chicago area, to Bloomington, giving a speech tonight at Illinois State University. If you're in this area and you want more details on that, send me a message on Instagram. I'll direct you in the right way. And then tomorrow, hopping on a flight first thing in the morning to San Diego to go, again, fill in for Dan Ball on OAN. So wild last couple weeks. Really excited that I get to be doing all this stuff. Really, really appreciate all of you for tuning in and watching and allowing me to continue filling your ear holes with fun information. And then, America Fest is just right around the corner. If you haven't gotten tickets to that, it's the biggest freedom-loving event. I was going to say in America, but I also think it's on the planet. I don't think there is a bigger freedom fest in the world than America Fest coming up in Phoenix, Arizona in just a couple weeks. So it's gonna be a wild ride. Also, like I've mentioned here before, this show gets spotty around this time of year of whether or not we're actually on, just because of all the things happening. We will try to be on tomorrow. We will definitely be on Wednesday morning through the rest of this week as I'm in San Diego filling in for Dan. And gonna be really, really fun. And also that'll do it for us. Really appreciate you sticking in. Thank you to Great Plains Media for lending me the conference room to do this show today. Again, we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. If you're in the area, would love to see you at Illinois State tonight. If not, hope to see you at America Fest in Phoenix. See you tomorrow, same time, probably different place. God bless America.